for my birthday, my parents sent me a gift box. When James saw it, he said, "Do not open it." I asked, "Why not? Can you not tell what it is?" I looked closer and felt completely frozen. I decided not to open it. Instead, I did something else. Half an hour later, the police arrived at the door. I am not someone who makes a big deal out of birthdays. I do not throw celebrations. I do not share dramatic selfies boasting about being 34 and thriving. To be honest, I usually forget it is my birthday until James buys me a chocolate and makes a silly joke about marrying a mature woman. That kind of low-key celebration is enough for me. So when my phone rang the day before my birthday, and Emily was on the other end sounding overly sweet like someone had pumped syrup straight into her voice, I already sensed something was wrong. "Oh, sweetheart, we sent you a small surprise. It should arrive right on time." Right on time. Like my parents had ever been punctual for anything unless it concerned my sister. Still, I played along and said, "Oh, okay. Thanks." She giggled. Giggled. My mom never giggles. "It is nothing major," she said. "Just a token of our love." That was the moment I should have realized. Not because of what she said, but because she said love without immediately reminding me how sensitive I am. Yet you want to believe, right? Even after 34 years of disappointments, after training yourself not to expect anything, a foolish part of me thought, maybe it is genuine. Maybe they care. They did not. Anyway, it was my birthday. My husband, James, prepares pancakes for me and lets me enjoy coffee in bed while he takes a work call in the next room. It feels calm and cozy until suddenly the doorbell sounds. On the doorstep, there lies a medium-sized cardboard box. No ribbon, no gift tag, no festive balloon, just a plain brown package with a printed label, taped like a machine put it together. James picks it up, carries it to the kitchen, and gently sets it down. Then his gaze lingers on it as if the box might suddenly sprout legs and walk away. I say, "That's from my parents." Still, he remains silent. My mom called yesterday to tell me they were sending a gift. No response from him. I chuckle. "Then don't open it." He doesn't smile. "Why? You think it's cursed?" James doesn't laugh but points at the label. Curious, I take a closer look. Is it true? There isn't a single handwritten word anywhere. Not on the label, not along the edges. Only a printed shipping tag with my name and address. The return address is a P.O. box. Not their home, not even their city. A chill creeps over me. James moves nearer and gently taps the edge of the box with his finger. "There," he says. "Do you see it?" I lean in, and my heart skips a beat. Then it falters. A wave of stillness washes over me. Not exactly fear, not yet, but a heavy sense of dread that is oddly familiar. I say nothing. Neither does James. He silently steps back once more. Right then, my phone rings again. It's my mother. James glances at the screen. I look at him. Without hesitation, I swipe to answer and put it on speaker. "Sweetie, did it arrive?" I pause. James stays frozen. My thumb hovers over the button. James hovers his finger over the end call button, but he does not press it. "Yeah," he says. "It arrived. Did you open it?" I glance at the package. "Yes," I lie. "I did open it. It's gorgeous. Thank you." "Oh, darling. We just wanted to remind you how much we love you. You are a girl. Never forget that." A knot tightens in my stomach because my mother has never said those words to me. Not at my graduation. Not at my wedding. Not when I wept on her couch after losing a baby 2 years ago. James looks at me. I shake my head slightly. "Well," she says in a sing-song voice, "we just thought you deserved something nice. You are so strong. Always have been." Then she ends the call. For a long moment, neither James nor I say a word. The box sits between us like an observer. I hate how kind she was, I finally admit. I know, James replies. She only calls me sweetheart when she's about to lie. I know. And they never send gifts, not even at Christmas. Remember when they bought my sister a Peloton and got me a gas station scented candle? James chuckles. I swear the candle was used. Probably past its expiration date. We linger there a while longer. I want to toss the box out the window and set it ablaze. Contradictory feelings. But so is my family. Eventually, I sit down. James makes some tea. The box remains on the counter. We do not open it again. We do not even touch it. It just sits there, occupying space, silent, yet saying everything. 30 minutes later, there is a knock at the door. It is not a neighbor. It is not Amazon. It is a uniform. Are you Russo? I nodded. We received a notification regarding a package delivered to this location. Would you mind if we come inside and ask a few questions? And this is where I will pause for the moment because the box remains there, along with everything that came inside. To comprehend how we arrived at this point, you must understand my life, or at least understand Emily. Emily is my younger sister. She is younger by 3 years, but lighter by about 1,000 emotional pounds. If I am the duty, she is the delight. If I am the one who recalls every birthday, Emily is the one who cannot handle that kind of pressure right now. She used to be the cherished one. Not in a glamorous or overachieving way. More like a let's not upset her kind of way. She cried easily. That was her power. I did not. That was my error. I believe I was 8 years old the first time I took the blame for something I did not do. We had this terrible vase in the hallway. Dark green ceramic, probably valued at about $12, but treated as if it were the crown jewel of the family home. One day it broke. A loud crash. A big mess. Emily was standing over it, her lower lip trembling like in a cartoon. I remember walking into the hallway and just knowing what was about to happen, like a reflex. When Mom arrived and started shouting, Emily pointed at me. Russo did it just like that. No warning, no eye contact, just betrayal. Cold and clean. I had not touched the stupid thing. I hadn't even stepped past it, but I stayed silent because I was older, because she was crying, and I already knew how this story would end. Mom looked at me like I was a confusing puzzle she couldn't put back together. She said, "Well, you are the older sister. You should have been watching her." I was sent to my room. Emily got a popsicle, and that was the end of it. Another time, when I was about 12, Emily borrowed my favorite sweater, wore it to school, got paint on it during some creative art class moment, and then blamed me for not telling her it was special. Mom just nodded, as if that made perfect sense. She said, "Why didn't you hide it better, James? You know she is still learning boundaries." That sweater had been a gift from my grandmother. Emily never apologized. She said I was overreacting. Then she cried. Then she got ice cream. And once again, I learned that the truth does not bring comfort. Tears do. By the time we became adults, we were less like sisters and more like two people who had grown up under the same roof, trying to keep the peace whenever our parents were nearby. Emily did not go to college. She got certified in yoga, sold essential oils for 3 months, created a spiritual art Instagram that was mostly reposts from Etsy and pictures of her holding coffee mugs on beaches. Somehow, none of it ever failed. It just transformed. That is what my parents said. She is finding her path. She has such a creative spirit. Not everyone fits the conventional mold, James. Which is funny because I never expected Emily to conform to any standard. I merely wanted her to repay the $600 she borrowed to start her unsuccessful bath bomb venture. Yet I kept silent. I observed from a safe emotional distance as she stumbled forward, while my parents enthusiastically supported her from the sidelines. About 1 year ago, my mother called me. She wished to take me out for lunch. "Just the two of us?" I inquired. She framed it as a special occasion, something I should appreciate. We met at a farm-to-table restaurant she always claimed to adore, although she secretly thought it was overpriced. Emily was already there, sipping a kale smoothie and resembling a budget lifestyle influencer. Their friendliness was almost too much. We exchanged polite conversation until Emily posed a question. She asked if it would be acceptable to use my name and address for a business account connected to a small art project she was working on. It was not dubious, just more convenient since she was between leases and found my stability reassuring. The term stable consistently carried the same implication for me: dull, predictable, and easy to assign blame. Mother intervened, explaining that it seemed logical because I was organized and the arrangement would be temporary. I did not get angry. I barely paused before calmly saying no with absolute certainty. Emily blinked in surprise and forced an overly quick smile. "Well, that is fine," she said. The lunch ended prematurely. What followed was a subtle but noticeable cooling off between us. Nothing dramatic, just a steady decline into a colder, more distant relationship. The Christmas invitation mysteriously vanished. My father sent a message indirectly, avoiding any direct confrontation. An intense message came through about not supporting family endeavors. Emily unfollowed me on Instagram. I did not even realize it until a friend mentioned it to me. I told myself I was indifferent, yet deep down, I truly cared. Part of me hoped they would come back, that they would honor the boundary I set, believing refusal wouldn't make me the antagonist. Instead, they simply moved on without involving me, which honestly felt better. Quiet is preferable to turmoil. I have created a fairly serene life, a peaceful home, a loving husband, no shouting, no tears on demand, no broken vases scattered across the hallway. But when that package appeared on my doorstep, especially on my birthday, something inside me understood this was not a coincidence. They were not showing kindness, they were being cautious. James tapped the corner of the box and said, "There, do you see it?" I leaned closer, my heartbeat faltering before it lost rhythm completely. It wasn't solely the label that caught my attention. It was every aspect: the typography, the plastic covering, the barcode's placement, small details only noticeable if you have seen them before up close, and I had. About a year prior, James and I had stopped by Emily's apartment to return some dishes. She was sitting amid packing peanuts, calling it inventory. Her hallway resembled a storage facility, boxes cluttered everywhere. They felt identical in the same way. Same emblem, same glossy finish, same scent resembling varnish mixed with melting glue. She had laughed when I lifted one and told me to put it down. "The supplier is strict," she said. "They track who opens what." She called. The supplier was strict, not careless, not cheap, just strict. Now that exact supplier had sent a box directly addressed to me, completely new packaging, not reused or repurposed, with a fresh label and seal, a brand new box coming straight from them to me. James didn't add a word. There was no need. This was not a gift wrapped in an old container. It was a deliberate shipment, the kind Emily never allows anyone else to handle. Yet somehow it ended up on my kitchen counter. I stayed silent because no words could avoid sounding like a betrayal. The moment I saw the packaging, I instantly understood. Then the call arrived. My mother, sweet and smooth-voiced, asked if I had received our little present. I replied yes, told her I had opened it, and said it was lovely. I had not. James stood beside me in the kitchen, arms folded. I grabbed my phone, tapped the record button, and placed it on the counter next to me. Not because of instinct or suspicion, since I had already seen the box and knew what it represented. They were not sending me a gift. They were delivering a problem with my name clearly printed on it. Less than 30 minutes later, there was a knock. I opened the door to find a uniformed officer, polite but expressionless in a practiced manner. "Are you Russo?" he asked. I nodded. "We received a report about a suspicious package delivered to this address. Would you mind if we came in to take a look?" James appeared behind me. I opened the door wider and said yes. The box was still unopened on the counter. The edges were taped in the same way, the weight identical, and I still could not shake the feeling since it arrived. I pointed at it. "That's the one," I said. The officer approached, examining it carefully as if expecting it to move. His partner stood slightly behind him, eyes sweeping the kitchen as if we might be hiding a warehouse beneath the table. "Is it addressed to you?" he asked. "Yes, a birthday present from my parents." "Have you opened it?" "No." He gave a brief nod. "Would you mind if we opened it?" "Go ahead." They proceeded cautiously, gloves on and box cutters ready, following every step of their protocol. The flap lifted with a dry crackle. Inside there was bubble wrap, decorative items, the kind of lifeless objects people pay too much for to seem sophisticated. A few small figurines, a certificate of authenticity, and a shipping receipt with my name on it, naturally. One officer scanned a QR code on the bottom of one piece. He glanced at his partner, and they exchanged a look I couldn't quite interpret. "Do you know what these are?" the first one asked. "Well, they seem like some sort of art, I guess," I replied. "Do you know where they came from?" I shook my head. "I told you. My parents sent this as a present." "Do you have any proof?" I grabbed my phone and played a recording. My mother's voice came through clear but hollow. "Did you get our little gift? We just wanted to show you how much we love you. You're our girl." I stopped it there. That was enough. The officer nodded. "We are going to take this with us. You are not being charged at this moment, but this shipment. The materials match those involved in an ongoing investigation." I forced a tight smile and replied, "No problem." They carefully packed everything up again, labeling it as hazardous material, expressed their gratitude once more, and then left through the front door with James following behind them. I took a seat at the kitchen table. My coffee remained warm, which somehow felt wrong, as if the universe was hinting that everything was still ordinary. 3 hours passed before my phone rang once more. I didn't bother checking the caller ID. It was unnecessary. I picked up immediately. My mother's voice had lost its softness. "How could you?" she demanded. I said nothing. "You told the police it belonged to Emily." "I told them who sent the package." "I said it was you." "Do you understand what this means for her?" "Yes, I do. You could have stayed silent. You might have claimed it was a misunderstanding. You made that call. You confirmed the package arrived and then tipped them off. We had no alternatives. You always have options. If they had discovered it at your place, it would have ended quietly, contained. No one else would get hurt. Instead, you sent stolen goods to my home under my name, hoping I would be foolish enough to open them." There was silence after that before my father's voice cut in, calm and deliberate. "We thought they would just confiscate the items and move on. We did not expect them to track it this far. But you believed they would trace it back to me. Riso, you are stronger. You have always been stronger. He used my name. You used my house. Emily wasn't made for this situation, but I am. You do not have children. You could recover there. That is why. That has always been the reason. You have." "My mother always claimed to be the unemotional one," she said. "Now just look at what you have done." I stayed silent and ended the call. James walked back into the room carrying a cup of tea in each hand. He placed one in front of me without saying a word. I glanced toward the countertop. The empty spot where the box had been looked like a fresh wound. I said, "They really expected me to open it." James sat down opposite me. He replied, "They truly did." That was all there was to discuss. A week after the police took the box, the detective rang me once more. I was halfway through eating my cereal. James had already left for his job. The sunlight streamed through the window, casting a warm glow. You know how it feels when everything seems like it might finally be okay. Then my phone lit up with an unknown number. Naturally. The detective asked, "Ro, do you have a few minutes?" "For what? Maybe to burn it all down before breakfast?" "We need to verify something. Your name shows up on several documents related to the company your sister managed. Have you ever registered a business under your own name?" "No," I answered. "Have you ever been listed as a co-owner or manager of any firm involved with art sales, resale platforms, or international supply chains?" I actually laughed. I once tried to sell a bookshelf on Facebook Marketplace. That's where my entrepreneurial adventures end. He did not laugh, not even a sympathetic grin. "There is a digital signature filed under your name along with a business email tied to an account that has since been suspended. Let me guess. resower.73@catchyartmail.com. It ends with .designs. "Absolutely it does. Could you please check the digital signature?" He sent it to me. It took approximately 3 seconds to verify what I had already suspected. It was not mine. I mean, the name matched, certainly. But the handwriting was different. It looked like someone attempted to copy it after briefly seeing the back of a birthday card once. "Is this your signature?" Number. "Do you recognize this email?" Number. "Could your sister or parents have accessed any of your old documents?" I hesitated. "Yes. Years ago. Tax documents. Identification copies. I used to trust them." That was the last time I spoke that phrase aloud. Past tense and everything. He explained what they had discovered or tried to uncover. Anyway, my mind filtered out some details as white noise. A business permit filed under my name, my former address used as the official return location, an electronic trail leading back to Emily's devices, supplier deals, payment links, and a completely fake email account pretending to be me. "You have technically been named a silent partner for over 1 year," he said. I wanted to respond with something witty, something smart. Yet all I managed was, "Of course I have." He asked if I would provide a written declaration confirming that I never approved any of this. I agreed. I sent it that very afternoon. I even attached a copy of my genuine signature for comparison, just in case anyone needed assistance spotting the forgery. He appreciated my cooperation and said they would reach out if more questions arose. That was the end of it. He never explained what would come next. He did not utter Emily's name again, nor did he mention the word charges. He made no promises about justice. Instead, he simply expressed his gratitude and ended the call. Honestly, that felt more genuine than anything I had heard in months. After that, there was silence. No calls, no inquiries, just stillness, as if the world itself was paused. I assumed either everything was unfolding quietly behind the scenes, or absolutely nothing was happening at all. Both possibilities were equally unsettling. Suddenly, everything escalated rapidly. Emily faced accusations of wire fraud, identity theft, business fraud, import and export violations, and being the most demanding sibling on earth. Okay, that last one I added to myself. She took a plea deal, of course. 2 years probation, a fine comparable to the price of a brand new car, and a ban on holding a business license until well into middle age. My parents faced charges too: conspiracy, assisting and encouraging the crimes, claiming ignorance as if they did not recognize a scam. They confessed guilt. They received a suspended sentence, were ordered to perform community service, paid fines, and their names became public knowledge. They could no longer hide behind the excuse of being just Emily's parents. I chose not to attend the hearing. I did not want to see Emily crying in a dull cardigan, while my mother gripped her hand as though she herself were the misunderstood prodigy on trial. Yet I read the transcript. My name was brought up a dozen times. No apologies were given, not once. Then, as if life still had a cruel sense of humor, they requested a meeting. This time without Emily, just the two of them. A truce discussion over burnt coffee. They chose a cafe close to the courthouse. I arrived 10 minutes late and picked the most expensive pastry available just to make a statement. They were already sitting down. My mother seemed to be calculating which look would guilt me the quickest. I did not sit right away. "We were unaware she used your name," she said. "You didn't inquire either." She explained it was solely for shipping purposes. "Right, because that is how fraud works. You simply send it somewhere else and hope nobody asks any questions." My father cleared his throat, his go-to move when logic fails. "We believed it was only temporary," she said. "You would not object either. She also mentioned I would be the one to open the package. Remember? Apparently she says a lot of things. We never imagined it would escalate this far." "You mean you did not expect to get caught?" They both fell silent. Then my mother attacked directly. "You have always been stronger, Russo. You don't have children. Nobody depends on you. We assumed you could bounce back." There it was, the excuse refined and rehearsed, as if they had repeated it to each other many times already. "You sacrificed me," I said, "because no one else relies on me. Because you chose that my life was easier to discard. That is not what we intended." "No, that is precisely what you intended." I was no longer angry, just finished. I stood up. My coffee was still half full. I left it behind. "I hope you both enjoy your community service," I said. "Perhaps you will finally understand what genuine effort entails." That evening, I cut them off completely. I erased every contact, wiped out all backups, and removed their names from every place that still had their numbers saved for emergencies. Everything was erased. Not driven by anger, but by an absolute necessity. They no longer have any access to me. Not even the false image they created. The following morning, James brought me coffee. We sat together in the kitchen, gentle sunlight streaming in as if it were meant for us. "Are you all right?" he inquired. I took a sip and replied, "I am finished." He did not need to ask what I meant. What do you suppose? Did I go too far, or was it not enough?